Welcome to As the World Churns. I am one of your fabulous co-hosts, Danielle Moodie, alongside my fave, the one and only Andy Levy. And today we're going to dive more into our dystopia because Donald Trump keeps the headlines going and keeps our heads spinning. So, where do we begin today? Well, with Trump announcing another travel ban. That's right. He does not want black and brown people in this country. That is evident. We don't have to pontificate on whether or not Trump is racist, on what this travel ban means. It means that you don't want certain kinds of people here. And I want to run down who is on the list. There is something so fucking ominous about the font that they use over at the whitehouse.gov. It is very large and just very like chaotic to me as fonts go. But the title of this ban is Restricting the Entry of Foreign Nationals to Protect the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats. Do you think that AI wrote that, Andy? I think it did. And then I think that they just did like a copy and paste. Nonetheless, there are a list of countries. So we have Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, the Republic of Congo, which is interesting because Donald Trump had no idea where the fucking Congo was the other day when he was holding up photos from what he thought was South Africa to the South African president when he was lying about the genocide of white farmers, holding up pictures of the Congo. And then he says, "What's the Congo?" Apparently, they figured it out. Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, Venezuela. Those are the 19 or so countries that Donald Trump and the Trump administration have banned from entering the country. Andy, what do those countries have in common, do you think?
I am gonna take a guess and say, well, I was gonna say they all have the letter A in them, but Congo kind of screws that. So it must be the color of the skin
Ah,
of
very
the
good. Very good.
of the people who are native to those countries. I'm glad you read that list because there was a country kind of conspicuously absent from it, and that country is Egypt. Why Egypt, are you asking? Because the Trump administration is claiming that they are doing this to stop terror attacks,
Hmm.
and they tied it to what happened over the weekend in Boulder, Colorado, where we had someone who attacked some Jewish people. And the guy who did this was from Egypt.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So 19 countries are on this list, supposedly to protect us from terrorists and supposedly to protect us from attacks like what happened in Boulder on Sunday. And yet the country of origin for the Boulder suspect is not on this list. So I don't know, Danielle. I'm thinking maybe the Trump administration is not being fully honest with us about this. What do you think?
I think that the word that you're looking for or the phrase is fucking liars.
Yeah,
They're
that
they're
works.
they're fucking liars. The reality is that Donald Trump in his first term referred to many African nations as quote unquote shithole countries or any countries that the population was largely black people as shithole countries. We know, for instance, Haiti, which he maligned all Haitians during his campaign by saying that they were eating cats and dogs. And instead, what we learned about the Haitian population in Ohio during that time is that they were responsible for the economic revival that region by coming in and filling jobs that had long been left unfilled. And, because of Donald Trump's sentiments about the Haitian population in that area, they face terrorism and attacks. And he has long had issue with that country and any country that has a population of melanated people. And so for anyone to look at this and to say, well, it is about Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about terrorism. Let's just
Yeah.
be very clear.
Yeah.
Because if he did, then MBS, Mohammed bin Salam, wouldn't be one of his son-in-law's best friends. He wouldn't be bankrolled by Qatar. He wouldn't be bankrolled by the Saudis. And you notice that none of those countries are on this list. And yet, if you want to talk about a history of quote unquote
Yeah.
terrorism, I mean,
Yeah.
we can walk that walk all the way back to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2001. So the fact of the matter is this is bullshit. It is part of their white nationalist agenda, and it should be discussed as such. It isn't just a quote unquote travel ban. It is a ban on Black people, Muslims, and people of color entering into this country.
Yeah, and the other one that really leaps out at me is Afghanistan. And look, obviously that country is a mess and is not great and is being ruled by the Taliban. But let's talk about the kind of people who are, maybe trying to come here to flee the Taliban. And let's talk about the fact that for a long time, those people were our allies while we were over there fighting the Taliban. And so, I'll actually let Sean Van Diver, who's the president of a group called Afghan Evac, he said to include Afghanistan, a nation whose people stood alongside American service members for 20 years, is a moral disgrace. It spits in the face of our allies, our veterans, and every value we claim to uphold. And he's absolutely right. Again, these are people who, helped us, regardless of what you think about our mission there and whether we should have been there. These are people who helped us, who are, I would imagine, whose lives are in great danger now
Mhm.
because of that. And this is us 100% turning our backs on them. If you're looking for a logical reason behind this, if you're looking for anything based on like statistics of regarding acts of terrorism against Americans or acts of violence against Americans, you're not going to find it. What you're going to find is, like you said, is the countries that Donald Trump doesn't like for one reason or another. You were saying before we started recording that, not a surprise that he did that, that he's done this. And I agree with that, but it's still obviously absolutely heinous.
It's disgusting.
So I want to pivot to something that happened in the last few days that really annoyed me, and that is the news that Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, I know it doesn't make sense to me either. It's hard to say that without tripping over it, has ordered that a U.S. Navy vessel, the USNS Harvey Milk, needs to be renamed. And it's very clear why Pete Hegseth wants to rename this ship, because it's Harvey Milk was gay and was a fighter for gay rights and paid for that with his life when he was assassinated in San Francisco. And so this is bad enough because this is clearly just homophobia. But I want to read a list of other ships that were on the memorandum and that Pete Hegseth wants to rename. The Thurgood Marshall, the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Harriet Tubman, the Dolores Huerta, the Lucy Stone, the Cesar Chavez, and the Medgar Evers. We just, in the last segment, Danielle, we played the What Do These Countries Have in Common game.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can play the What Do These People Have in Common game. I mean, you want to unname a ship named after Thurgood Marshall, named
Mm-hmm.
after Harriet Tubman. I mean, every person on this list, Medgar Evers, Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, every person on this list, an absolute giant. And they are so not even trying to hide it anymore. They have pulled the wool over the eyes of enough people with their phony complaints about DEI that were really just about racism and about being wanting to be racist. And here we are. It's women and people of color. And that's really all they care about. They want all these things named after white men and white men only.
Because they're white nationalists. And so everyone can stop with the mental gymnastics to try and find euphemisms and find ways to talk about what it is that the Trump regime's agenda is. It is white nationalism. It is entire erasure of queer people, people of color, Black people, and any achievements that were made because of their fragility, because of they're just entirely small, stupid, grotesque people who can't feel powerful unless they wipe away the accomplishments of other people. And so I say at a time when folks are banning books and scrubbing ships' names that you need to educate yourselves about who these people are and why they matter, because that's a way to fight back against the rise of fascism and white nationalism. Fuck them. I know it's not the segment, but that is how
It's
I
close
feel
enough.
right now.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah. Some days the whole show is made out of the segment.
It is.